Now we formed this association pretty quickly. It was our opinion that no promotion has the right to decide the future of Speedway at Western Springs. It's been there for 95 years, and the only reason it's been there for 95 years is the competitors, the promoters, but most importantly, the community that goes. And those people should have a voice in that, and anything that happens. Just like with North Harbour Stadium, TAU had that for the demolition, and it was going to be demolished probably by now. Then they went public to Auckland, and hello, it's still standing, it's going to be standing for years to come. No reason why Western Springs Speedway can't be operating for years to come. You all need to get behind this association because the council will listen to numbers. They can negotiate deals with individuals, but they can't negotiate deals with all of us that put Speedway in the firing line. And we have to solve this problem once and for all for generations to come. And we will be doing it. I've canvassed a couple of councillors in the last couple of weeks since the decision made. My own councillor from Rodney District, Mr. Sayers, and I asked him why he made the decision he did, and he said he made it based on the information given to him. Now the information given to him that day in the council room was very flawed, it was extremely dishonest. They didn't allow people to address the council who were opposed to the decision they were about to make. When this was explained to him, he had no idea, and he said he would have voted the other way. I also canvassed a guy that's been pro-moving Speedway ever since I remember, back when Bill Buckley had the promotion, and that was Alf Filipino. And I said to Alf, I said, you know, you go to Wenderholme or Long Bay regional parks on a nice summer's weekend day, and all you see there is Pacifica families sitting down with each other on blankets, eating food, playing volleyball, grandparents watching and laughing, parents, children, all alike. And I said, it's just fantastic, Alf, and he agreed. I said, what would happen if the council suddenly said, we're closing that regional park, but you can now go to the Albany ship ponds. I said to him, Western Springs is our Wenderholme. And it's about our families, our community, our great-grandparents, grandparents, parents, children who go there on a Saturday night to enjoy a night of Speedway, in which they've done for 95 years. What you're going to hear tonight is pretty damning. We're not here to beat up on the promotion, we're here to beat up on TAU. There's one common denominator over the years since we did the protest march back when Bill had it, and so we've had different promoters but the same problem, the future of Speedway. The common denominator in all of this is TAU. They lie, they deceive, and they fail in everything they do, and you're going to fail in this. We've already had success. Our letter from, we brought in a King's Counsel, and she drafted a letter and sent it to the councillors, and through this letter, any future decision, there's going to be decisions made about Western Springs in the end of November, that's all been put on hold. But the council know they have absolutely stuffed up with the lack of procedure, lack of process, and blatant dishonesty. And so we've already had a slight victory. And with all of your guys' support, and others that aren't here but will get in behind us, we will save the future of Western Springs. So I want to hand over to Jason, and he will present the slideshow. And we'll go from there.
Craig's just done part of the job for me, so I'll skip this one. Okay, so just going to catch you guys up. We've been looking through literally thousands of pages of documents, tracing this back, and probably put in about 300 plus hours. So we're obviously not going to give you that, it's too much. So this will catch you up as to what's going on. It's really the meat of it, and you'll get the picture pretty quickly. There's a lot of rumours around this, so the whole idea is this is plain facts. There is nothing else but that, and we want to put a lot of those things to bed. So going back to 2019, we all know, following a dispute, RFA issued a tender, and Bruce Robertson was a successful applicant, you see. So this has been a bit of a rumour going around for a while. Here is in plain detail the terms of that, well, the terms of the duration of that contract. So in that tender is the clause to demonstrate an openness to work with wider council organisation as exploring, planning, progresses for a long-term home for the Speedway classes currently running at Western Springs. Bit of a mouthful, but it's pretty obvious what that contract was about. So in February 2021, the Waikaraka Master Plan came out. Most of you are probably aware of this, have seen it. These are all public documents, by the way. There's nothing sourced any other way. So this does not mention Western Springs, open wheelers or consolidation. And a lot of us supported this because we saw the value in upgrading Waikaraka. And please keep that in mind. Up to you. So June the 7th this year, expression of interest is issued for Western Springs. Now this was done fairly covertly, and there was no mention of Western Springs, okay? And there's already a promoter in there with a contract, so there were actually no applicants for this, technically. Now when Alna Ford, backed by Bill Buckley, found out about this, she applied, and she has been refused. And she has a very, very good offer on the table, so please keep that in mind.
It already smells of someone's getting a big backhander.
Oh yes. So August 29th, so this is roughly a month after the tender process is closed. Bruce Robertson writes a letter to James Parkinson, and this is the agreement to not renew the tender at Western Springs once the works at Waikaraka are completed. Okay. October 24th, this caught a lot of councillors by surprise. We have two absolute champions with us tonight. They didn't know about this, okay, so it was snuck up, and the consolidation for Speedway was in the agenda. It's the first time that that term had been used, okay. A number of people submitted emails and letters to council advising that the process is flawed because none of us have really been consulted about this, the public's been left out, and there are procedures that council are supposed to follow when they make these decisions. So these were completely ignored. They are entered on public record, and they're pretty easy to find if you guys want to look at them. Okay, the meeting is halted on the 24th, which is unprecedented for council, because of a letter from Speedway New Zealand, and I'm going to put that up now. Thanks. So what happened is a letter was presented, or misrepresented as a letter of support for consolidation for Waikaraka. And what the letter actually was support for the upgrade at Waikaraka. Okay? Very, very important. So the person who misrepresented this letter, who's very high up in tower, was then allowed to continue in the following adjournment of the meeting. Okay, so there's very serious questions around that. The same letter we're talking about, and I do apologise I can't read these, but these documents just don't come up very well. This is actually identical in content to the letter sent from Auckland Stock and Saloon Car Club. So we have some questions around this, and we have freedom of information applications to really get a clear guideline about what's happened here. because this letter has been withdrawn from the process and this one has not. And the body is actually identical, bar a few small changes, right? So there's a big question around that process. So after the first meeting was adjourned, there was an internal investigation and there were 7 letters of support. So the findings were this. During the investigation, the council actually solicited more support for consolidation. This is a letter from Active, and although you can't read it, this is the core body of it. They're not really interested in Speedway, they're interested in the upgrade of Waikaraka, right? Because the master plan actually includes the whole grounds, the soccer fields, the toilet block, everything. It is not just Speedway. And it's important you keep that in mind when the master plan comes up as well. But the fact is that in terms of the fact that we were blocked from providing information, they actually sought support in the process. There's an issue there as well. So the other issue with the same process is Auckland Stock and Saloon Car Club was offered speaking rights when we were denied them, right? Now, to their credit, they've been consistent. There are a number of letters gone back and forth from Alyssa Tennant, who writes very good letters, and ultimately, as you can read that, they state that we should decide our own future and no other parties. So they've been very consistent, okay, and very upfront about this. So the other issue we have is an inauthentic letter that is presented to TAL from Auckland Council. And Craig's going to talk about this one. So the important thing with this is the evidence of this was not shown to councillors before decision making, and you'll see why it's such a big deal in a second.
This letter was supposedly through the TQ club. So a person from within the TQ club emailed the promotion, and there were stages with this email. The promotion then forwarded the email onto TAU, but the email had been altered, okay? And TAU received an altered version of the original email from a person from within the Auckland TQ Club. The recipient, the promotion, altered that email and forwarded it to TAU. And then TAU somehow found a letterhead of the TQ Club and put that onto the altered email and said that it had come from the Auckland TQ Club. We have a letter from the author stating that how he had sent the original email but had nothing to do with the altered version that went to TAU, and definitely the letter with the logo on the TAU forwarded to the councillors. That is just blatant fraud. It's theft of IP, and it's pretty damning. So, you know, the council know this, and there's been somebody pretty high up in TIU that's been on, we say, extended leave ever since this has come to light.
Tell us before the night's over.
So it's from TIU. From TIU.
Okay, in the letters of support, important to note, there is not a single one from any club at Western Springs, okay? Not one, okay? One letter, summary, one letter is counted as 2. This is as dodgy as it sounds, but it's 100% correct. One is inauthentic, which Craig just talked about. One is misrepresented and withdrawn. 2 are identical. And the remaining letters have financial conflicts of interest in some way, right? So there's a whole lot of issues around that process. Okay, so October 3rd, the meeting was re-adjourned, and Wayne Brown personally, as chairman, blocked our speaking rights, okay? Now, there's a whole lot of clauses where they can do this. But you see up there, Ron, Craig, Leif Masievich, Lance, Alder Ford, myself, we'd already, most of us supplied letters and requested speaking rights, flatly denied, all of us, okay? And that's his caption there if you want to read it, but it's pretty easy. So effectively, the rundown of the meeting was this: the Waikaraka Master Plan, which never mentioned Western Springs consolidation or open wheel speedway, was used as a vehicle for consolidation, right? Very sneaky. Support for the master plan is misrepresented as support for consolidation. So what had actually happened is they went out and got a lot of support for the upgrade of Waikaraka, and a lot of us in this room would have contributed to that, and it is misrepresented as support for us moving the speedway, okay? There's no public consultation, there is no consultation within the open wheel speedway, okay? Unfortunately, the motion to transfer funds for consolidation was passed, okay? Now there's issues around the consolidation funds. It's $11 million and no one quite understands how this is going to work. TOU give $11 million to the local board, Mangakiki Tamaki. Then they give $8 million back for TAU to manage, okay? There's no real clarity around that. Councillors can enhance on it a little bit, but they're pretty much blind as well. It is a real, it's an absolute minefield of trying to work out what's going on with that. So essentially the Waikaraka Park upgrade, the speedway component was, as you see, just over $35 million in 2018. We all know that prices never go down, so guess what that would be. Essentially, in a nutshell, you yourselves can pretty much have a guess as what's not going to be there, okay? And we can't tell you, okay? So basic stats, as it is at the moment, capacity at Waikaraka is about 2,000. Like I said, looking through the plans, it's really foggy as to what's going to happen there, but there are issues around parking regs. No matter which way you work it out, we cannot fit all of the classes that we have into Waikaraka at one time, okay? So they will not be running all the classes in one meeting, okay? The front parking, as it is at the moment on the plans, there's two variations, and this one gets very messy. One is that the whole front car park becomes a pit area, and because of the narrow layout, there are some issues with parking regs there as well. But what that means is that removes every single car park off Waikaraka, so there is no on-site parking. So with that, it's great if you want to go racing, but if you want sponsorship of people to watch you, there probably won't be any, okay? There's another variation where half of the car park is parking and half of it's a pit area. Again, it's all very grey, and hand on heart, we've looked through lots of documents and we just can't tell you what's going to happen, right? So Speedway Analysis 2023, this was in addition to the master plan, and option 3 was the lowest cost to the ratepayer, and there was a New Zealand Herald article that stated that we cost 1.2 million a year, right? We actually don't. It was a projected income on concerts that they don't have yet, okay, and that's the honest truth. It's pie in the sky, nothing. We help offset the cost. Sorry?
Can you believe?
What's that?
They're quoting, yeah, we could have 60,000 people in there for a concert.
No questions here, they just waited till the
Next
end.
slide, stand up, please.
Yes.
So that cost is 1.45, which is far less than 11. It would be a genius to work that out. Okay, so we've started the incorporation. This has taken a little while to play catch up and work out exactly what's gone on here. So we formed an association with a purpose to provide a voice for all of us, right? And unite and fight. So the first thing we did, like Craig has said, is engage at King's Council and temporarily stop the November decision, right? So that's a small victory, but it is a victory. Okay, the response from the council, if you want to see it, is simply that they have deferred the November decision to early next year. So that's the time frame that we have to put up the fight of our lives and save it. So what we need to do here, and I'm a bit of a proud man, I don't like asking for money, but this is probably going to cost about $50,000. And that sounds like a big number, but with a lot of people it's not. Okay? It absolutely isn't. And you think about all the people that have gone out there and raced. We've had people fight for their lives. We've had people die on that track for what they love, for what we love, right? What we have to do is absolutely nothing compared to that, right? You think about when you go into that stadium and pay $50 to get in. If you can spare that to try and say this is for you, okay, for all of us. So we need to do that first. We may need to put an injunction on. We are worried they might come in with a bulldozer when we finish the season, right? We need to do these things and stop this, okay? That's number one. We have a PR campaign en route, and this will be exposed. There's three parts to this. There's a Speedway community, us. There's people that don't care about the Speedway community, but they care about Ponsonby Rugby Club, because Ponsonby Rugby Club is next in line, right? We're going to capture them. And then there are the general public that will be pissed off that their council is corrupt, right? And we have elections coming up in September, which is perfect for us. We need to apply that pressure. So what we need you to do, we do apologise, it's been a hell of a scramble to get this ready. The next few days we'll have the website set up. We need you to sign up. We need you to follow what we're doing, and we'll keep feeding you information. And whatever you can do to help, if you can help with your time, with your skills, if you can help with your money, that's what we need. Okay? All of us. And think about what you've got to lose. Thanks very much.
Okay, I'll hand over to Councillor. Yep.
Hi everyone. One of the Mount Albert Rugby League get crowds like this after their games. I don't think so somehow. That's a great turnout. My name's John Watson, and I'm an Auckland councillor for the Albany ward in the North Shore and Whangapraia. There's two other councillors here today, Councillor Wayne Walker, who is also in the Albany ward, and Councillor Ken Turner, who's just come in for the Waikapri ward. So Jason has run you through that. I'm not going to repeat that. That speaks for itself, if you ask me. I don't need to go into the details. But what I think would be useful, if I just run through the context of how this happened, because this has happened very quickly, in fact, just from October to now. So there's a lot happened, and it's only by seeing it in its kind of full glory that you get to understand this wasn't a free crack of the whip, anything but. There's some serious questions to be answered. Unfortunately for us, we didn't know a lot of this stuff on the day this decision was made, okay? So it's only down to some of your own people who have ploughed through all the stuff that's on the public record. So there's no skull-tug or anything. That's all out there, hidden in the open, if I could say, because of the way this is conducted. And I think if you just listen to how I explain how it's got about, you might understand how that was able to occur. I've left my guide dog behind, so I better off. Okay. So the first point I want to make is that I was one of the first people to find out about that this was coming up. And the only reason I found out about it was I read it in the paper. And there was a couple of articles earlier in October from a journalist, and I didn't pick them up right away. So it took me a little while to get to it. And in the first article, the journalist said, talking about Western Springs, billionaires Bill Foley and Anna Mowbray and former Black Ellie Williams are believed to have drawn up plans to turn Western Springs into Auckland FC football franchise. The proposal was to build a new 8,000. There's a lot more going on here. I would just say, finally, politician gets hold of a microphone, hard job getting off him. The other thing I'd just say, as someone who's not a Speedway fan, so I'm reasonably objective, I've been to Speedway, I appreciate the wonderful atmosphere, the family atmosphere, the loyal supporters, the keen sports, and I admire all that as any sports person would. But I would just get you to think, are you going to have that when you go to that place over in Waikaraka Park? I just think about that. That's forever.
Just remember, there's council elections next year, and Mr. Watson there from the Albany board, so is everyone here from Albany? I'd like to ask Wayne Walker, if he would like to come, Councillor Wayne Walker, and I'll give you 10.
So I won't repeat anything that John has said. I endorse everything. The critical thing is that you can win. You can stay at Western Springs, but it is going to require a considerable amount of effort and a campaign across a number of fronts: legal, publicity, and mobilising. The interesting thing was that at that meeting, the vote was close. It was 10-8. There were mistakes made. There was information that was withheld. There were facts that were patently wrong. So I would suggest there's a really good case, and there's an opportunity to turn it around. There's an opportunity to be back at Western Springs and to make Western Springs better. That's it. So the present constraints around Western Springs in terms of the number of meets, the lack of flexibility, they can be changed through the unitary plan, and that comes up for review in 2 or 3 years' time. So you can do it, but it is going to require effort. Things need to start happening soon, because as you've been told, it's not over. It's going to be coming up again before council. And when that happens, the councillors need to be fully informed. There's also the opportunity, because every year the council has something called an annual plan, which is a budget. You to get your act together and get in submissions through that process that go to the money, because the decision around Waikaraka Park, pumping that money in, is all around money, and there is no reason why money can't be spent at Western Springs. So get your act together. PR is going to be critical. You can do it.